Yeah, the Chris Rock and Will Smith thing. I wasn't going to say anything about it because I thought it was so obvious what this thing was to the initiated, and I was seeing even Christians were pulled into this debate. It became, of course, a major moral discussion, which it is, and I think I'll answer that on the back end. One thing you have to know, I'll say, look for the body language. Watch this video again, and you will see how staged that actually was. So, for example, Chris Rock, it's all in the heel and the leg. So, Will Smith is beelining towards him, and Chris actually leans in. It's just, you're taught this in acting school to receive a slap. He actually leans in, postured to receive it without it looking obvious. So he leans in where normally human nature, when you've said something to someone and the person's husband is beelining it towards you with an angry look on his face, and he gets close enough and the hand is raised, your body mechanics have a natural reaction to flinch. You don't see any of that. You see Chris actually lean in, and he gets slapped, and then nobody rushes the stage. No, you just cannot do that in professional life without security or someone. More of a reaction. And so this thing was a concentrated, staged situation. And you ask why. Well, again, Hollywood has a modus operandi. They have an MO of how they do things. And what you see is a progressively dying award show that needed to be boosted. And we saw this with, I think it was the Super Bowl, with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, the famed wardrobe malfunction we're so sorry, and Janet is canned from the Super Bowl for the next number of years. That's all part of this thing. You might say, no, it was intentional because look what happened to her. No, these people are bigger than that, and the benefits outweigh that kind of consequence. And so I think one of them, either Justin or her, had an album coming out, and suddenly the Super Bowl or that particular halftime show was like, next year everybody's watching it. So with the Oscars, the obvious is create a controversy between two famous people, and it goes viral all over the world in this multimedia generation, and we're all watching next year. Ratings go through the roof, and I know the debate went into real morality of slapping somebody, and you might say, well, the decline of our society, that could be allowed, and it's discussed. The reality is we have been being conditioned and fed things for decades. I mean, this is the way Hollywood does it. Of course we're being programmed with situations like that. And you say the decline of society. Well, if you go back and watch even sitcoms, not just what is obviously being propagated in our movies, but if you go back and watch certain sitcoms from season 1, the older sitcoms, all the way up to now, you actually were far enough away from season 1 now that you actually can see a message was subtly being propagated to now we see the full-blown ideology. Right. And so now is the opportune time to go back, watch from season 1, and you see little things were being positioned, even on set. Certain things were being planted. This is how society operates. So the Chris Rocks and let's just say famous people, I don't know their lives personally, sometimes they're even part of certain societies or groups. The actors and actresses themselves do not call the shots for what messaging is being given. It's actually those above them who are running things, and they are pushing a message. Those guys, I know it's cliche, but they're just pawns. The actors, the artists, they're just pawns in a bigger game that's going on. So when you look at a situation like Chris Rock and Will and that is just so classic. And so for those of you who doubt, if you're watching this, go back and watch the lean in, and you'll know everything you need to know about that situation.